Welcome to the Happy Thrive Vibes podcast, where we explore the pathways to a joyful, fulfilled life through insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories that empower you to thrive and embrace your passions. I'm your host, Laura, and I'm excited to get started.
Hi, everybody. We are in for a delightful guest today. We're going to learn from a coach who has been where we are now and can help us become the woman that we want to be with all of our goals and our high ambitions. Meet Lisa Dorn, the warm and relatable life coach who understands exactly how you're feeling right now. She's been through the same difficult life transitions and knows firsthand the challenges you're facing. And now she wants to empower you to become the strong, confident woman you've always wanted to be. This is one of the things that we have in common. It makes me so excited to talk about her background. As the founder of the Change Your Life Coaching with Lisa, Lisa is a certified life, wellness, and transformational coach who specializes in helping women navigate through tough transitions and find balance, health, and purpose in their lives. Her passion lies in helping women break free from limiting mindsets and beliefs and guiding them towards self-love and inner wisdom that can lead to a purposeful life filled with growth and fulfillment. Lisa's own personal journey has taught her that true wellness and balance come from the synergy between mind, body, and spirit. By working together, she will help you overcome any obstacles standing in your way and live authentically with gratitude, love, discipline, integrity, passion, humility, and wisdom. Lisa is dedicated to helping you identify your goals, dreams, and inner self, and will support you in creating empowering goals that will lead you to a happy and balanced life. Whether you're on a wellness or fitness journey, dealing with overwhelming debt, or facing a challenging divorce, Lisa is here to guide you every step of the way. As your life and wellness coach, she will provide the encouragement and motivation you need to be the best version of yourself. She can't wait to join you on this transformative journey towards a more balanced and fulfilling life. And I can't wait to get some of the answers to my burning questions after just listening to some of her podcast episodes, looking through her blog and her website, because Lisa, you have so much great wisdom, and you use words that people are hesitant to say, to be brave to say that we want those things for ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to do my best.
You are busy, and it sounds like you are busy helping other people live their best life. And your coaching is primarily for women who want to find balance and purpose. But how did this passion spark for you, and what did your path look like getting to where you are today?
I had a rocky marriage, two beautiful daughters that came out of that. 20 after 22 years, I decided that I needed more for myself and I needed to work on me. Only my divorce was so incredibly stressful that I ended up being more of a victim because I didn't look at all of my challenges as growth opportunities back then. So then I kind of went through that stage for quite a while. I got thrown into how stressful my divorce was, thrown into menopause. Um, about a year out from my divorce, it literally took 1 year for me to go through it. And then a year later, I lost my job, which I had had for 25 years.
Oh my
That kind
gosh.
of tossed me into, I was in the legal field. Of course, I had a lot of experience. So when I went to unemployment, they were like, well, you are too qualified to get another job. So then I kind of went into sales, and I was $1 million sales writer in a big furniture company in Minnesota. And I worked my way up to sales manager and kind of went from there. And then I got into real estate. But in 2017, I lost my mom. And that was one of the hardest things um, that I had ever gone through. And that kind of started my journey of working on myself. I went through a huge forgiveness period where I did a lot of forgiveness work, forgiving myself, forgiving my ex, forgiving, um, asking for forgiveness for my mom, for my daughters, a lot of writing and journaling, which I talked about in some of my episodes. I would literally write letters to my ex, to my mom, to my daughters, but I didn't mail any of them. It was more of a getting it out and onto paper for me, and those are all stored away. One of the biggest things for me was that I did at that point was I wrote a letter to myself from God and my mom. And I literally wrote for 20 minutes. There was no punctuation, there was no misspelling. You just literally wrote for 20 minutes. And I put that away and I didn't read that for 2 years. I was in a car accident. It will be 2 years in February. That was absolutely completely life-changing. We should have died. There's no reason why we survived it. Um, it was 7 below. We were in the middle of which you're gonna 7 below, which for you is really super cold.
It's very
Um,
cold.
in a small town in northern Wisconsin, and we lost control of our vehicle. We were only going 30 miles an hour. Lost control of our vehicle, hit a snowbank, hit a bridge pylon, and took out the bridge and went headfirst into the river, which had been drained down, thank God. But for it just, it was so surreal. And from it, I had a year of chiropractic and a bruised heart from it, and just so much to work through because I was grateful that I was alive, but learning to understand and stay in that place of gratefulness was really challenging. So I decided from that point forward that God had a bigger plan for me and I needed to figure it out. And so I always started listening, really, really super listening to podcasts. And I listened to Kathy Heller, and I did her free class. And I'm like, you know what? This is a way for me to share my voice and tell my story. And so it just, God has been nudging me, and I've really been listening to the direction He's been having me go.
I think Kathy Heller has the most encouraging way to convince you to do the things that you don't think you're brave enough to do. And I'll speak for me. She does that for me. I promise
Yes.
that every time. She just had a free class this week too. And I feel like every time she's talking, I'm like, she's in my head. How? And I think that's why I started my own podcast too, was because not just to share my story, but if anybody can benefit. I used to think there's no way anybody could care less what I have to say about anything. But then when someone like Kathy, I'm like, she is so disconnected from me and she's not anything like me.
Right.
But if I'm feeling anything the way that she's feeling, or that she's explaining something to me that's helping me, I want to do that for other people because it's incredible.
Right. I
It's
mean,
incredible.
my thought is if I can change or touch with even one life with each episode, even if it's not each episode, um, that is what I meant to do. And it coming up on the 2-year anniversary of my accident, it it is challenging because not only did we have our accident in February, but my mom had also passed away in February. So February is kind of a tough month for me anyway. Um, but it just it it's like listening to your podcast. Um, it's just funny because you talk about living in the happy, and when you go through really hard stuff, it is really hard to do that. And it's once you get into the victim state, which I got into, um, it was hard to get out. And it it just, when you have a divorce and then you have a job loss and then you lose your mom and then you meet the love of your life and he's in a massive motorcycle accident where he had a 10% chance of living. And then we're in an accident where he hits his head again because had his head not gone through the sunroof, we wouldn't have gotten out of the car and he would have been in the water more so than I was. And so it just was it just it's like I look at everything that happened in my life now and I'm so grateful for every step that's happened. And it's such a different mindset for me. And I want to share that. You can go from, oh my gosh, this is happening to me, and why is this happening to me? And still find everything to be grateful in it. And I wish I had found this earlier, and clearly I wasn't meant to. So
I feel
I
the same
just
way.
I don't know. And when we went through 2020, we were all shut down. A friend of mine had invited me to Clubhouse. So I would get on there with the Miracle Morning people and I would talk and I would do stuff. And I'm like, I think this is the direction I should be going. So then I started looking at coaching, and I'm a sort of a life and transformation coach through ULA, the Mind and Body Company. So they're a huge personal development company. And now they also have a product line, which is everything for your body and your mind. Um, but then I also got a wellness certificate from Cornell University. So I was just like, what? I'm doing this for me, but I know what I can do with it with everybody else too.
Oh, absolutely. And that's funny that you say that, because I joke to my husband all the time, when something doesn't go the way I'm envisioning it, or it doesn't go in the way that I think is the happiest outcome, I laugh and I say, I don't think that they realize I'm a happiness influencer, and this just isn't setting well with me. And we just laugh because it's so foolish to say that. I'm almost 50. I'm not an influencer of anything. I joke about my 13 YouTube followers, but I try to radiate happiness and I try to spread happiness. And we talk all the time when things aren't going the way they planned, because it's not about fake happiness. It's not about saying I'm happy, I'm
Right.
happy, I'm happy to make yourself happy. It's finding happiness in the hindsight, or in the gratitude, and then seeing, like, how could we have possibly seen, except for from our current vantage point 3 years back, to know how all of that would unfold to our benefit. And so
Right.
sometimes it's just like happiness is just in that feeling, in that moment right then, that you're choosing to see the best in somebody or something or a circumstance when you have that choice for yourself, because it is so hard sometimes to go when you're going through. I lost my mom too a couple of years ago. I lost my dad prior to that. And it's, everything isn't always happy, but you can still choose to be grateful for where you've come and what your journey is. And then the fact that you're helping other people. I noticed on your one of your websites, you mentioned that it actually says helping others to find their inner warriors. And I
Yeah.
thought, wow, because I'm in education, and so are you. And so, you often hear the saying, teach the thing that you need to learn. And I do that all the time for myself. Teach the thing that you need to learn. So I thought, wow, if she's teaching other people to find their inner warrior, what did that look like for you to first do that for yourself? Because you can't show other people how to do something unless you've done it for yourself.
I through everything that I went through at the time that I was going through it, I didn't see myself as a warrior. It wasn't until I did my forgiveness journey, and actually the biggest part of my forgiveness journey was forgiving myself. And once I did that, I felt that. I felt more, yes, I can do this. And am I still working through finding my inner radiance? And am I still working through finding my inner warrior? Oh my gosh, yes. So it's not something that you just find and it's there. You have to keep working towards it and you have to keep improving it. And that's what I have found to be so awesome in this whole journey. And in starting my podcast, when I wrote my trailer and I was so proud of it. I like literally recorded it probably 17 times. I don't even know. And I literally finally at 2 o'clock in the morning went, okay, I don't even care what this one says. This is what I'm posting. And it was on my dad's birthday. So I was like, put it out there to the universe. And my goal at that point was to my trailer dropped on my dad's birthday, and my first episode would drop on my mom's birthday in honor of her. And my dad has Alzheimer's, so he's still with us for the most part. But it just was, I just stood there at 2 o'clock in the morning on his birthday and said, okay, well, submit. There's my 20 seconds of fear. I'm going for it. And I always had, it's fun because I love, like I started blogs on my website, my first website, my coaching website. And I loved doing that. And so it's just fun to, now I kind of stopped on my I don't write as many blogs on my coaching website. I write them more on my Attractwell website, but it's just fun to just, I'm just having fun. I'm having fun growing with people that I meet like you and all the interviews I've had on my podcast. It's just everybody has so many amazing nuggets to share and I absolutely love it. And I love the people I'm meeting and you just couldn't have asked for a better platform. I don't know.
I think I agree. And I love writing. I have a gratitude journal that I write in every day. And I do a lot of writing too. That's why I love your tips and the letters that you wrote focusing on forgiveness, because I feel like there's so much therapy in writing, not typing. I know a lot of people type
Not
now.
typing.
I even work for a virtual school. I get the typing, but the pen and the pencil to paper is so I feel like I can just free think so much clearer. And if I just let myself have the permission to just write and not care about if I make sense or if I'm using the correct grammar or punctuation or dotting my I's, man, I can read that back a couple of days later and think, wow, there's so much clarity in that I didn't even
Right.
realize when I was reading it. So I love to journal too. It's
Yep.
therapeutic.
It is very therapeutic.
When I was reviewing, just learning more about you to interview you, you have some common words, like I mentioned earlier, on your site and your blog and your podcast content. And they're words like gratitude, courage, vulnerability, forgiveness, resilience, inner radiance, personal growth. How do they all tie together for you helping guide people to live their best life and for
The
you living your best life?
I think the biggest one is gratitude. You can develop all the rest of those if you're grateful. And it's, I just totally lost my train of thought. Um, it's when you're grateful and you're working on your inner resilience, that makes you more confident. And with your confidence comes so much more. And it helps you become more radiant and it helps with your growth and it propels you in a different direction. It radiates your vibe or your energy. You know, you have a certain energy on this the energy you bring in your podcast and right now is just amazing and I absolutely love it. and the schools and the teachers are so lucky to have you. Um, it just, I don't know, it's just it all ties together, but you need to have the confidence and the resilience to make it through a lot of things.
You do.
And
And to make you even be able to see that you can get there. I mean, you
yes,
have to have resilience. I mean, you have to have resilience just to get through life. Well, I mean, I'm almost 50, and sometimes I think, I don't know how I made it through my childhood. I don't know how I made it through my teenage years. I don't know how I made it through my 20s. And I think, but I mean, this could be the best day of my life if I want it to be, you know what I mean? I mean, every day you get the new opportunity for that. And I love in one of your podcast episodes, I wrote down this quote. It was the episode from November, you posted on November 13th, 2023, discovering life's purpose through the lens of gratitude. Because I so strongly believe in gratitude, even when I'm not feeling grateful for the thing in which I am being served. I am still trying to come from gratitude. And the quote I have from you is, gratitude is not a choice, it's a lifeline. And I thought, wow, I want to learn more about that for you, what that means.
it 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 ended up being a lifeline for me, because it was, when you get into such a dark place and you feel like you're stuck and you feel like you can't get out, learning to how I started journaling, and I'm really not as good at journaling as I would like to be. That's why I'm doing all these journaling prompts, because it's kind of fun, because it's working for me too. So I started with just writing down 3 things that I was grateful for. And some days that is really hard when you are in a
It's
mindset
it is.
that you are just so depressed and so out of, just so out of it. And one of the other podcasts that I listen to a lot, and I actually have 2 of his books, is The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And there was a while where I was doing the Miracle Morning, and then I got out of doing the Miracle Morning, and I've now started it again. And it's just, you don't think that doing 5 things in the morning will change your life, but they really do. And it's, you talk about feeling grateful for everything. And when my mom passed away, I mean, I was grateful that she was a nurse at Courage Center, which is a place for mentally, or not physically handicapped, like brain injured and stuff. And so when she had her stroke, it left her as a vegetable. But her aneurysm is what ended up causing her death 5 days later. And to find it made me sad that I was grateful that she passed away, because I knew she didn't want to be a vegetable anymore. And I knew she didn't want, and she was suffering. But it was, when you're going through things, to even write down 3 things is hard. And I know we can do hard things, but getting yourself out of a depressive mode is really hard. And so gratefulness was a huge thing for me, to learn how to just write 3 things. And I would write things down. I was like, oh, that's really stupid to be grateful for. But it's not. It's like the day that I walked outside and our garbage can was strewn all over, and garbage all the way up and down the road. And we live in the country. We live on 10 acres. And I knew a bear did it. So I just was like, I'm not sure what grateful thing I'm supposed to get out of this. But I'm now going to be late for work. I now have to pick up all this trash. Just was, what am I, what was this just slowing me down today for, you just have to, because you don't know why what is happening to you is happening, but I might as well be grateful for it. And after our accident, so where we got in our accident, and I think I have ADHD. I'm like all over the board. Um,
No, I love
in
it. I love it. It's your story. It's all the same. It's all good.
in Wisconsin, when we got in our accident, it's where we go camping. So we were there in the winter because we were going for a birthday party for the owner of the campsite that we go to. And he's 93 now. But I went back there in when we went camping. I think we went Memorial Weekend for the first time. And I literally sat at that bridge. They still hadn't fixed, they just had the orange snow fence up, even in May. And I sat there Memorial Weekend and I literally healed myself looking at and by that time the water was raised. So where we went in was about 3 feet of water because they dropped the water level down 7 feet every fall. So on the Chippewa flowage, they drain it down. So had we been in 7 feet of water, it would have been a totally different story, but we were in 3 feet of water with jagged rocks. So I sat there and watched the cars come at me. And it's not a busy road, but and just tried to visualize how that happened to us. And it was in my sitting there crying and working through everything that I mean, gaining the gratefulness was, um, it just changed my life. Just taking that all in and looking at the bridge that still wasn't fixed. And it just, I don't know.
And probably you can never even know the behind the scenes things that occurred that allowed you to walk away from that. Like you're
Yeah.
saying, the garbage in the street. When I was on the way to somewhere in Miami with my husband the other day, and oh my gosh, the traffic, it was like a parking lot on the turnpike, and we found that we came across this accident, and it must have just happened. And he said, "Oh man, we're going to be late because of this accident." I said, we could have been later. We could have been in the accident. Like if we weren't
Right.
delayed at the last delay that we had, we could have been the ones in this accident. And he was like, "Oh my gosh," with the happiness. But you don't
What?
know, I mean,
Thanks.
I go to silver lining and he goes to worst case scenario, like hands down within seconds. That's where both of us go. So we make a nice balance for each other. But you just don't know. You don't know if that trash in the middle of the street. First of all, should have been grateful that the bear wasn't there when you walked out to the trash, because that
I
freaks
was
me out
just,
because
I
we
was
don't have bears
watching.
here. We don't have bears. We have sharks. We don't have bears. But you don't know if that made you be grounded so that you could drive and be safe.
Right.
I mean, it's just so hard to know the things that we'll never see or know or understand, because some of the
Mhm.
things, we had just some poor health results come, and I thought, man, I feel like I'm getting punked, but not in a good way. And so you're right. It's hard to see. It's hard to see the reasons for gratitude in the middle of all of that. As a life coach, what have you seen to be the biggest or most, not necessarily the biggest, but for the person, it's their biggest or most frequent obstacle that they have faced? Because I mean, when you're in the work of working on yourself, you know that we are the reason we don't take chances. We are the reason we don't do the things that we want to do because we feel like we're not worthy or we're not good enough. Or you start learning that the obstacles are inside and not outside. And then to share that with other people who are making all the excuses in the world for external reasons, what has been the biggest obstacle that you feel like, oh, that certainly
My
the pup
golden,
can
sorry.
join. The pup can certainly join anytime. But what has been the obstacle you've learned from people that have been, he wants to play mom,
He does.
they're in their own way for getting there. They have to get out of their own way, but what has been their obstacle?
Um, Usually forgiving themselves. So I'm creating a online my first online course, which I'm super excited about,
Oh,
which
that
is
is very
on
cool.
forgiveness. So I'm in the process of putting that together. And it's called Forgive to Live, Break Free from Unresolved Pain.
Oh, wow.
The biggest thing I see is people being able to forgive. And usually it's forgiving themselves. And sometimes I've had a, you know, when we're born, we're not afraid of anything. We have all the resilience in the world, we have all the confidence in the world, and something happens to us around 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that changes that. And we're not confident anymore. And, our resilience is, mom doing this for us or whatever. In a lot of people have to go back and find their inner child and sit down on the step with them and say, it's okay that mom and dad got rid of your dog because we're moving far away. When in the end, we only moved 2 blocks away. But, it's like you have to go back and really think about what you need to forgive. And once you can do that, you get more resilient again. And you're not, see, if you've got these negative feelings in you because of something that happened to you, but what people don't realize is when you react as an adult, you're reacting to something that prompted that reaction again. So until you resolve those back reactions or those childhood traumas, you're going to keep responding in the same exact way. So there's a huge forgiveness. Like the forgiveness journey that I went on was huge, and um it was freeing. And so that's what I'm creating with this online course, because I found that my episodes that I talk about forgiveness on are my most listened to episodes, which I think is really funny. Um, so I think that with all the trauma and heartache that um, has even happened to our country in the last 4 years, from 2020 and being locked down and being alone. And I think that there's just a lot of inner turmoil that people need to work through.
And isn't it crazy when I have to remind myself frequently when I think about the forgiveness, the other person doesn't even know in a lot of cases that you're mad at them. They're not impacted whatsoever. So you
No,
have all of this negative in your life, in your body, in your thoughts, and you dwell on it and you lose sleep over it. And they're not even impacted. And they're the ones making you feel that way. And they have no clue. So the forgiveness that you're talking about is really so freeing when you can see that from that perspective and you can figure out a way to forgive that person so that you are not losing any of your quality of life over it. Meanwhile, they're just living their best life over here and not impacted at all.
exactly, because it doesn't matter how bad you feel, they don't feel it. But think about all the anger and frustration that's in you is hurting you. It's hurting you physically, it's hurting you mentally. It can cause cancer, it can cause, it can cause so many things to be stuck in that anger and resentment stage. And trust me, I was stuck in that anger and resentment stage. And now that I look back at it, I mean, I gained some friends after my divorce that I didn't have because I was I didn't have a lot of friends when I was married. That's a whole nother story. But uh I'm no longer friends with those friends. And at first I was upset about that, but now I'm okay because those friends were friends I needed at that point, and I don't need them anymore.
Right.
And it's that was I look back at the anger and resentment stage of my life, which was a good chunk after my divorce. And I had to go through that. And going through that is what put, how it put me where I'm at today. Sorry, can't even spit that out. But it just is, I don't know. I look at it in a totally different direction because you're right. My being angry at my ex-husband, he didn't care. It wasn't bothering him that I was so angry. It wasn't bothering my ex-best friend that I was angry at her. It was only bothering me. You're right. They're living their happy-go-lucky lives, and you're living in this turmoil that is not doing you any good or anybody around you.
Right. But it takes a man, does it take a lot to see that? I mean,
It
and
does.
that shows my years of therapy and self-help and all of that good stuff. But it is true and it is freeing. And I encourage it for anybody that
Oh,
to
I do
just take a
too.
look at that for yourself. And I love it. So tell us about your podcast, because so much of this is on your podcast. You have bonus episodes, you have solo episodes, you have episodes with guests, but all of this is just it helps them build their resiliency and just learn different ways to take in the information that they can make shifts, small shifts in their own life so that they can, your listeners are living better lives. Tell us about your podcast and what you
So
love
my
about it.
podcast is Unleash Your Inner Radiance. And I came up with that because we all have an inner radiance. Your shows, so I know you have one. Um, but you have to find it. You have to find that spot. And I think you talked about it on the episode that I was just listening. You have to find your happy. And if you can find that and you learn to stay at that or find a way to stay at that, I know that my miracle morning practice is when I was doing it, life was better. So now I'm starting it again. However, you just need to find that inner radiance because your energy just puts stuff out into the universe. And you will you will find little things to be grateful for, and then you'll have big things to be grateful for. And I'm just really having fun getting to know people and interviewing people. And I would not have, like you said earlier, I would not have met half these people. And I'm so excited about the upcoming guests that I have coming on my podcast. And I just, I don't know. I've got one coming up who talks about surrender, and I've listened to his audiobook, and I am so blessed to be on this journey and to meet people like you. And I don't know, this is just fun. I just am having fun. More fun than I ever thought I would have. And
Your description of why you have your podcast and what you love about it is, I promise you, if you listen to any of my episodes, it's exactly the same in my words
yeah.
don't even come out correctly in a form of a sentence because I'm just blown away about how fun it is and how much I've enjoyed it. I knew I would
Yes,
enjoy it, but I guess I didn't know what I would enjoy about it. I just thought it would be fun, but I didn't
right.
realize it would be fun for the reasons that I find it to be fun.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like I follow Kathy Heller and I did her thing and I did her course. And I'm like, she has an impact like no other.
She's so
And
authentic.
yes. And I'm like, can I be that way? Can I do that? And
I've listened to your
you
podcast, so the answer is yes. Yes, you can.
but we all have days of let's see what I want to say. Um,
Yuck and stuck.
Self-sabotage.
Yes.
You know,
Oh,
you're stuck.
self-sabotage for sure.
Yes. And what, days of, I had this last week. What am I doing? Oh my goodness. And then I record the best episode ever. And I'm like, oh my God, that was so good. you know? And so this is why I do it. It's just one person, one comment, one review. That's why I do it. It's just, I know that it's just touching lives. That's just what I want to do. That's what I'm meant to do.
This is the question that I ask everyone in closing. So I wanted to ask you too. I mean, it's my new trend, but I'm going to act like I did it from the very beginning. Like it was my strategy all along. If you could do more of what you love, what does that look like for you? Like when you think about the things that make you the most happy and if you had more time to do more of that, what does that look like for you?
If I had more time to do more of that, I would do more podcasting. I would do more groups, more speaking, just more coaching. Um, I would absolutely love to speak um, and be a public speaker. And I don't know, I I love working for the school district, but I don't know. I just would do more of podcasting and meetings and being on boards. And the board that I'm on is a women's cooperative. So we help small women and small businesses grow their business.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm
Fun.
super excited about
Oh my
that.
gosh. Every aspect of your life is serving women,
Yeah,
That's incredible. And
except
what
for
a
my
gift for
autism.
yourself. But what a gift for yourself too, because you had to have gone through that to be able to have that empathy and to be able to relate, to be able to share, to be able to get other people to see that there is promise for them and hope for them.
Yes.
Wow. You're very gifted. Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much. I don't want to make you late for your first board meeting. I know that that is
Oh,
where you're on your way to. I wanted to thank you for your time today, and I hope to have you on again, especially when you're about to launch your course. I love to help market that for you because I think that that's a course that can do so much good for so many people. So
thank
thank
you.
you so much for your time today. And tell our listeners, please, the best place that they can reach you to be able to listen to your sage advice and reach out to you if they wanted to have some coaching sessions.
You can reach out to me at attractwell.com / Lisa Dorn. There you can reach out to me. You can listen to my podcast. I'm also on Apple Podcasts or any other database that you can listen to podcasts on. I've got it everywhere. Or connect with me on LinkedIn or on Instagram. And my Instagram is, oh my goodness, I forgot again. I just changed
I
it.
do.
I just changed it. Instagram. Me. Life.coaching_ with Lisa Dorn.
Thanks, Lisa. All right, everyone,
Thank you
don't forget.
so.
Oh, you're welcome. And thanks for your pup for making an entrance there and being a special guest too. Your little pup who's ready to play. All right, so don't forget to connect with us on social media and share your own stories of thriving and manifesting to our listeners out there. Join us on Facebook, follow on Instagram, like and subscribe on YouTube. Tag us using Happy Thrive Vibes with a hashtag in front. We can't wait to hear from you. And as always, thank you for being a part of our thriving community. And until next time, keep radiating those positive vibes and manifesting the life that you love. Find forgiveness. That's what we've learned today. Find forgiveness, gratitude, try some journaling, find Lisa, and keep thriving. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope this episode sparked inspiration for ways you can shift from surviving to thriving by doing more of what you love. Until next time, remember to let your optimism and passion light up your world and always remain in a place of gratitude. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment on our podcast. Wishing you endless happy Thrive vibes. Happy Thrive Vibes explores various topics aimed at promoting positivity and personal growth. We want to make it clear that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are not necessarily those of the creators or staff at Happy Thrive Vibes. Our aim is to provide a platform for diverse perspectives and ideas, and while we strive to present accurate information, the content discussed here is for entertainment and informational purposes only. We encourage you to form your own opinions and always consider multiple viewpoints.